Alright members, let's see if I've got a voice long enough to do a very brief video. Here we are looking at some seedlings. I'm in one of the seedling houses, which has a variety of seedlings, whether they be bilbergias or neoregelias, as the case is that you're looking at now. Now, all our seedlings begin in small covered little individual seedling houses, whether they be the little takeaway containers or whether you invest in these little seedling houses which have got some sort of control with humidity with these discs above to allow for summer growing as well as going through winter. We can close them off and keep our seedlings nice and warm. Now, for seedlings, once they reach a certain size, they are removed from the seedling houses and they're toughened up. And then their foliage begins to be a little bit more tough and ready to transplant successfully without as much loss. And that goes for including the varechas here, which have been toughened up. So they're quite firm to touch now, easily ready to be transplanted. These ones are rose blush and they were planted out according to their label. And not wearing glasses, but back in October of 2022. So these little guys are ready to be moved into their own individual or smaller cells. When it comes to alcantarias, the seed goes down much thicker. The seedlings are then plucked out individually, and then they also then grow on in smaller containers, getting lots of nutrients and fertilizers until they start to reach this sort of size. These are quite tough. These will be now probably over a year old, possibly closer to 2. And they are December of 2021, so closer to 2-year-old, these ones. And so these ones can now be individually plugged out and put into individual containers. Certain plants like to grow with a community, and they include bilbergias. So bilbergias can grow in a community pot for a lot longer. Now these are 2 grexes. A grex is the name of the seed that we plant that's created when we hybridize pollen and seed parents together. So when we create seed and we create seed in the end and we plant it, that's called a grex, and a grex is given a code or a name, and then that seed is always known under that grex. Now this particular grex, for example, is Neon Comfort crossed with Jason A&R. It's given a code of bilbergia number 18. So all of these will be separate individual plants because I've used 2 hybrids. So I've opened up Pandora's box and I can get a variety of different colours and shapes. Now moving over to this grex, which is a completely different and private grex, already, I'll just be careful, this is number 21. I'll be careful to move them. There's already some lovely coloration showing, which I would have expected from this grex because of its parentage. So I wanted something smaller, more compact, but with the intense coloration of its parents. And so that's a really good indication early on that that's happening. So these ones here are Neoregelias. Once again, early coloration of these particular varieties. Ready now, they are already in individual plugs. They can have some fertilizer, just a liquid feed over them now to continue to keep them growing. There's another grex behind with some coloration in them. This process takes time. Sorry, I just needed to try to get that voice back. Process takes time, doesn't necessarily take huge amount of space if you limit what you are growing. In this greenhouse there are hybrids of many years as well as the young ones which are around about 12 months old. Now these Neoregelia here were put into community pots some time ago, approximately 6 months ago now. Now When they were first planted, there was no obvious striation, lineation, variegation. However, now that there is some, as you can see here, they're in direct competition with the greener forms from the same grex, and they grow slower, so they need to be pricked out and moved away so they're not in direct competition. So in this case, I've simply pricked them out with my nails actually, and I'm just going to make a little dimple in the pot away from its siblings and just simply put them back in again. So you can see the lineation on these, and so they've just been separated from the main cluster. Eventually they'll go in their own pots, as is in the case of this one. This one here and this one are the same age as the rest of their siblings, and this one here is already starting to show some coloration. Its little green sibling here, much smaller. So see what happens when you separate them. You get some really good growth, and you don't get any delay. Now, it's not always about lineation. It can also be about colour. So as is the case in these ones, this particular Grex has got Eva in it, and if you look up near Eva, you will see it contains a lot of red. So in this Grex, the red is already starting to show in such small plants. They're also really good shaped. Neoregelia, nice pointy tips on these ones. So I really like these ones, nice little pointy tips on these. So it's about what you like versus, everybody else. But in the same Grex, I got these little fat ones. Now, I won't say these are not mine. These are the late Neil Baines hybrids, his last ones. Give me a minute. Okay, so they're the last of his seedlings that are growing on now. This is his last of his legacy. So we want to save these ones. Now, these are nice little fat little Eva hybrids. Again, from the same Grex as these very pointy red ones that I was showing you earlier on, but we've got a couple of nice little fat ones. So I've separated them as well, and there's a few more as well. So there's a lot more plants to grow on. Same goes with all of the seedlings of different sizes. They require fertilizer, water, light at different times of the year. This is winter. These plants will start to show a lot of colour for Bulburgia and Alcantarias, gives us an idea of what's going on, but they will also start to slow their growth down as well. So you will not need to water and fertiliser as often. A little bit interesting amongst all of the weeds, and tucked at the back, if I pull that one out, nice little spotted small Bulburgia. Oh, it's a night sky. It's crossed with chipper. It's all right for those of us who knows what that means. All right, all good. So pull that one down. And this is the time of year we start hybridizing Bulburgias. This is another big clump of community, and you can see there's a lot of green in there, but then there's some really nice coloration in the center. That's the keeper. And a lot of these greener ones will end up just attached to trees around the property, or thrown down the back. That mottled green one will be kept. So there's probably only 2, maybe 3 in that group that will be kept, and the rest will be sent down the back to the goats for food. Okay, sorry, that's the end of my voice. One more I wanted to show you that's just a little bit special. How's that for a Bulburgia with all of those striations and some red and some greens? And we're not going to talk about it because it's only beneath at this stage on many of the leaves. So this particular one is looking quite nice. I like this one. Pity it didn't have some colour on the other side as well though. But it's only the first generation of this particular one. We'll see how it goes. And same goes with curls. Can't get enough curls, so we have to wait for several generations. Once again, Bulburgias and Neoregelias, which are several years old. This is a little mini only about 15 centimetre tall bilbergia as well. So lots of fun when it comes to hybridising. Little bit of work involved. Collect your seed or go around your gardens and find seed. This time of year you're finding a lot of Varisha seed and Alcantaria seeds are starting to ripen because we were hybridising those last year at around October. So the Varisha and the Guzmania are already bursting, as are the Tillandsia. And it's now starting to be the time to be pollinating and collecting seed from bilbergia flowers which have been pollinated. This is a flower from a bilbergia. Unfortunately, once you've left it go to that state, it's too late to use. The seed has fermented in its base and it's no longer viable. So you do need to get it when it's nice and fresh. That's a little hint for bilbergia seeds, but you do need to tickle them. Many of them will not accept their own pollen. All right, happy gardening. My voice nearly made it to the end. All right, happy gardening, everyone. Bye now.